All right, the Georgia Navigator Cup 2023, which is also the U.S. Junior Champs. I decided to go out the weekend before and run all the BrownX courses in one day. Probably not a good idea at my age, but total distance was 11.6 kilometers. The reason I did this is because I was one of the volunteers. I set the courses on Friday, I vetted on Saturday and Sunday, put out almost all the stands for all 3 days. So, yeah, I've been everywhere, seen everything. The only thing I didn't do was actually run the course, didn't run the legs. And I wanted to get some exercise and some training in. So, yeah, instead of just volunteering all the time, I decided to go out and do all these BrownX courses. This is your middle, which was the Friday. This is the one I designed. We're going to see how we do here. Here's your leg one. And yeah, my intention here was to run across these hatchery ponds because it is kind of confusing. And your track. Looks like the GPS got way off here at the beginning. It's probably a good idea to let it adjust. You can see I'm running down the trail. And then crossing over, and then in here, maybe I started out too fast. Then I dipped further north than I wanted to be. All these little hatchery ponds down in here, which are now either dry or just marshy or occasionally have runoff in them, are pretty confusing sometimes. So I passed south of the first one, west of the second one, then dove into the woods. And you really can't miss this. As long as you head out in the right direction, you're on the right spur, you're just looking for the ditch that has a control in it. And there's no controls out here, just tape, of course, with the weekend before the meet. There's your number two. Yeah, basically my intention was to go above these ditches, which I did for the most part. But then I drifted off to the side. Corrected when I saw the ditches below me and came in. 2 to 3, this one's also dead simple. Gonna go down that stream till we get there. And this is the middle course. So short, 3.2 kilometers, lots of controls, lots of change of direction, lots of quick decisions. That's what a middle course should be. And then number 4, also very short, very straightforward, but always a hassle when you see pit. Yeah, this is a really big pit, not deep, but wide. 2 meters across, I think. And the way that the BrownX was approaching this, no problem. You could see that control from a long way off if there had been a control. Number 5. This one's a little more, I wouldn't say cautious, but yeah, you've got to go down this long spur. That rootstock's not on the map. You got to go down this long spur. There's not much elevation change really. There's a series of ditches that you can cross over to sort of keep track of where you are. And then we're looking for a series of dot and holes down at the bottom. And you just want the last one. Sticking to the east side of the spur. Or north side. There we are. Now number 6, this is probably the longest leg on this very short course anyway. It looks complicated, but it's not. Remember that spur that was up there? That's what we're shooting for. We're just going to cross over that spur. It's So here, there's not much thinking going on here. We're just going down, crossing the streams, crossing the trail, and up the hill. Get across all this stuff and through the trees as easy, or as quickly as possible, and then up the spur. Form line at the top. These contours were not bad in here. They're 5-meter contours, but still, it's not very steep down in this area. Cross over that form line, then down the other side. All we have to do is keep track of these reentrants, not the one I just passed, not the first one, the next one on the right, but the one that's dead ahead. It should have a ditch in it. And there we are. Now this would be number 7. And we're going to, typical of a middle course, we're going to cross back and forth over the top of this hill. If the meet were going on when I was out here, then you would see all the other runners also crossing back and forth over the top of this hill, but going in different directions than you, which would be very confusing. All part of a middle course. But I was out here by myself, so I didn't see anybody to distract me. And this one is also, not that difficult. Cross that spur that's going out to the west, then the spur that's going to the north, go past that, down in that first reentrant, and it's the ditch in the bottom. I considered using that pit to the left, but it just wasn't distinct enough. Anyway, number 8, very short. It's also a very shallow reentrant up there. Cross that spur, cross the stream. Don't get off track. Short legs, it's very important to stay focused and punch. Now number 9, I was hoping this would confuse some people up here because the top of that hill is missing. I think what happened is they came in with the bulldozers, took the top off that hill, and used that dirt for the dam. There's evidence that they, went down and crossed old roads and things. I think that's what they did. Anyway, the top of this hill up here is missing. So you come up, you go over a spur and down into a huge depression. I don't think it fooled anybody. So, if I could just get up there and then fall down on the way down. All right, number 10. This might be, one of the more difficult legs in the middle. None of them were really difficult, but yeah. We've got this old road that's going out that spur. You can get on that old road, which I did for just a little while up here. But about along in here, it starts to disappear. And then later on, it gets very green. So my plan was to stay to the right of that old road. I'm still using that area sort of as a handrail. And it is kind of a spur. The trick here is to go far enough. Don't stop too soon and start looking around. Because that dot null is the last in the line, and it's very flat down there where it is. There we go. All right, now number 11. That's really orange level control. Look at that catching feature right behind the pit, and the trail, and a big stream. So as long as you can sort of stay on line, you should have no trouble finding this pit. Of course, there were other controls out here, which could be confusing. And now 11 to 12, of course, there's a big thing in the way, and that's that stream, that creek, that's Mountain Creek, which runs out to Callaway Gardens, and it's pretty deep down in there. But you look down in there and you say, I'm going to head for the bridge. If I see a place to cross, I'll go for it. And there is a place to cross right in here. Now, whether you save time by crossing or save time by going to the bridge, I don't know. Depends on how flexible you are. Over the hill, punch. Now, 13 to the end. I didn't bother with any of these trails. I just went straight for 13. Trusting that if I ran into the trail, I could just turn left a little and go right to it. None of this green was really bad, so not a problem. And that's what happened. I ran into the trail. Oh, I fell. I ran into the trail. Over to the control. And then this one, dead easy. The trail and the stream funnel you right into the bridge. Cross. Punch somewhere in here, and you can see no finish chute. I'm a week early. All right, that was your middle. Here's your stats. I did that in 37 minutes and change, which is pretty good, but it's still early in the day. Thanks for watching.